All right, everybody. I am what you need. And thanks to Tommy Temper. Tommy Temper wanted me to do this. I'm doing StreamYard right now. We're on the go. We're on the move. Going to the store to get some stuff to eat and some other business I got to take care of today. Beautiful sunny weather in beautiful Trinidad and Tobago. I am what you need. You're watching my channel. And now we are on the move. We're mobile. Oh, forgot to turn off that light. So, we're gonna have this little debate right now. If you guys want to hop on the StreamYard talk session we're gonna have here. This little debate about Canelo being pound for pound number one. Uh, what you guys can do is just let me know. I'll pop the link into the description, and you guys will line up as guests. Okay, okay, okay. Oh, I got some serious stuff I gotta do here. Talk to you. Okay, talk to the guy who does that. Yeah, okay. So, uh, you guys, I believe I can see your comments. I'm going to be able to see your comments below. So this is the brush cutter guy. If you guys go all the way down. Hold on one second. Morning, morning. You know if you're going to be cutting all the way down to there? You're cutting all the way down to there? Well, I have some peas down there. I don't want you to cut. And it's all in bush. Let me say exactly. I should really show the brush cutter man, but show the brush cutter man, right? Right? Yeah? Right. Which is the brush cutter man? That's him? This man here? Okay. Hey man, hold on one second, right? Hold on one second. Yeah, brother. Morning, morning, eh? You brush cutting down there by any chance? Let me share something now. Hold on one second. Yeah. So what happened down here? And is I have some peace trees right here. See? Well, you can see they're biggish, right? But they kind of hidden away too. Like here, this one 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 here, this one, and this one here. What's happening? When you reach down here, if you can't go in, you just reach the outside there. High grass. Right. That comes to the other point. See, I'm supposed to clean these things up, but I had to move right now. Hidden away inside of here is aloes. Now, what happened was, last time they was growing up on thing, it had bush all around here, and I didn't clean it. So the guy came and he chopped the aloes. But you see new aloes growing back up here. There are 8 of them. Here's another one. When you get them, but the problem is, if you coming down here right now and I going, you come in what time? Tomorrow? Yeah. That would be great. And I will clean out here, right? So, right. Cool. Thank you so very much. But just in case, just give him a little thing. Because that one rail hit away as you could see. The peas more, you could still kind of see the peas. Yeah. All right, man. Yeah, man. Bless that. And if you see any mango or anything, you can have some, you know. Yeah. Right? I want to throw me a fun. Yeah, you fix up, brother. Yeah, man. Intangible boxing, my dude. What's up, my dude? You want to debate me? All right. So you're going to jump on, right? You're going to jump on? Okay. Cool it is. Now I got to figure out how to put the link. Do you know how to put the link? Do I just click the link above? click the link here. I'll click the link here. I got it there. All right, what am I gonna do? Gotta figure out how do I leave commission. Let's go. Put the link in there. Okay. All right, I put a link in there. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen now. Now I gotta check and see. I guess when you pop in as a guest, right? Morning, everybody. All right, now. So I just popped in the link right there. Okay, I see you. I see you. Whoa, really quick, man. King Tang, you're King Tang. All right, man. Morning. By the way. Okay, tangible. Intangible Jackson. All right, cool. All right, now. Morning. Blessings to everybody. All right, let me see now. I think I add to the stream. I'm gonna add you to the stream. There you go.
Yes, I've officially been added. All right. I want to apply pressure. I want to apply heat real quick.
Okay, sir.
So I want to debate you on Lucas Brown
Morning.
being better than Canelo.
Lucas who?
Lucas Brown.
Lucas Brown. Who's
Yeah.
Lucas Brown again?
He's a heavyweight boxer. He's an Australian heavyweight boxer. Let me tell you why his resume is better than Canelo. He's beaten former heavyweight champion. Well, he's been a heavyweight champion himself, which is the greatest prize in boxing. But he beat former heavyweight champion Ruslan Chagayev. He beat three-weight world champion, one-weight lineal champion, and Hall of Famer James Toney. Canelo has no wins on that level, and he's made defenses of his heavyweight title himself.
Lucas Brown?
Yes.
He was a heavyweight champion?
Yes. He won the WBA regular title against I think it was Chagayev.
The regular title while Klitschko was around?
I think it was in 2016. And well, if you look at his two losses, which were against Dillian White and Dave Allen, those losses were fake. He was drugged in both of those fights, and I can prove it. Okay,
but I'm asking you a question: was he regular champion and Klitschko super champion or something like that?
Joshua was, I think. Tyson Fury was when he originally got.
Okay. So he never was a real champion, like the champion. He was like an interim champion.
WBA regular counts, so he is a real champion.
Okay, in your book. But I don't consider him a real champion until you beat the man. It's like unfortunately with the situation with Jamal Charlo and Canelo Alvarez, or with Devin Haney and what's the other guy's name? And Vasily Lomachenko. I don't see Devin Haney as a real champion. I'm sorry. I'm just sorry. Lomachenko is the champion, right? And I believe that similarly with Canelo and Jamal Charlo. I'm gonna tell you why. Canelo's the lineal champion. Lomachenko, in my book, I don't know if he's a lineal champion yet, but if he become undisputed, he will be lineal champion. You know what I'm saying? So I would not consider that. I'm sorry, but Ruslan Chagayev, I don't consider as a real champion. I thought he was like the interim champion, a guy who's, if possible, but because you're a regular champion in the WBA, I do believe that it's not mandatory for you to face the super champion, which is kind of crappy, but it is what it is. But honestly speaking, them guys, I don't see them as real champions. I don't even count that. When I count, like, say, for instance, Pacquiao and all the world champions, once you say regular champion, I don't count that as a real champion. And I don't believe anybody should count it as a real champion.
Well, look, the reason why and gotten any better belts is because Klitschko ducked him. They were in negotiations to fight in late 2016, and Klitschko pulled out with the fake injury, just like he does with all of his other opponents. He pulled out with the fake injury against Fury, pulled out with the fake calf injury, Achilles injury, whatever it is, against Pulev, and AJ is going to duck him and send him a flat fee low ball offer.
Hey man, respect to him on that, but that don't make him a champion. Right? That don't make him a champion. That's like Devin Haney. That don't make him a champion. Yeah, okay. So Canelo ducked. Technically speaking, he ducked Jamal Charlo because he asked for the franchise championship so he could face his Sergey Kovalev that way he wanted, but he ducked him in a way. I mean, you can't say duck because he faced a better. But I'm just saying he avoided him, right? And then when you look at Devin Haney with Lomachenko, you know, Lomachenko again is going to unify. So you kind of have a case because he's facing a guy just as good as Devin Haney or better, and so you can't really say duck, but he avoided him. He didn't want to face him. He didn't want to face his he didn't want to face his mandatory. Now I can't really knock them too much because they've been facing top level opposition, but that's not a reason to say, okay, so that means that Devin Haney's a real champion. You can't say that really. You know what I mean?
Okay, in all seriousness, I agree that Canelo is pound for pound number one. I just wanted to come on here and maybe you could test out, and maybe I could help you test out StreamYard. So hopefully you got this all figured out.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could. Well, one thing though, I didn't know you could
from
actually,
a mobile.
Yeah, I didn't know you could add people from a phone or whatever you're using.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could add people or all that.
They now do. They now do it.
Oh.
They're now doing it. Yeah, man. So thanks a lot, man. But I would still say that Lucas Brown, I mean, coming from boxing perspective, even if he wasn't a true champion, you saying the level of opposition that he's facing is better than Canelo's, right? Because that's what it all comes down to at the end of the day. Is who you actually face when you face them, who you beat, right? So let's continue the debate. You be devil's advocate. I like it. I'm just saying he beat James Toney, but when did he beat James Toney? What was James Toney coming off of the best win of his career or one of the best wins of his career? When did he beat the giant? Rustin Chagaev is a good fighter. I'm not gonna say no, but I mean, what do you think about that? What do you think of him?
He fought Ruslan Chagaev. He was a WBA regular champion for many years, and he beat James Toney coming off of a split decision loss in a robbery against Jason Gavern, who fought Joshua and Wilder, and also all the guys
sneaky Bob and Weave kind of guy
are past their prime.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I would say though that Canelo faced guys when they were world champions, multiple world champions, and world champions that were. Ruslan Chagaev was a good fighter, but like Canelo fought like ATG kind of level guys. Even when he lost to, or even if you argue he lost to some of those guys, it was still ATG or Hall of Fame level guys. Like you wouldn't, I mean, no fault to Ruslan, but you wouldn't think of him as a Hall of Fame guy. And we could go into that too, because there's an argument where you could say, well, Ruslan Chagaev, didn't get the opportunities to face Hall of Fame kind of guys. You could make that argument, and you could look at maybe how his qualities show that he could have faced these guys, and if you could prove that guys was ducking him, then you could show that he was this kind of this is not Hall of Fame level kind of guy. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying that there's always a caveat somewhere in there to argue the case. But I would say that if Canelo, Canelo was facing like these, but what do you think of this one? Why do you call yourself, by the way, King Tangy? I'm just curious.
I've used this name many times in past streams.
Like as in King Intangible?
Yes, that's my nickname.
Cool, man. Yeah, well, what I would say is that I would say that you know what do you think of Terrence Crawford as pound for pound number one? Again, you know it depends on the criteria you use for pound for pound number one. But what do you think of him? Because I've heard some very reputable people in boxing saying, yeah, Canelo, yeah, but Terrence Crawford's pound for pound number one. What do you think of that? And why would you argue that he's not or he is? And why do you believe that Canelo is pound for pound number one?
I think Canelo's better than him. Crawford is not pound for pound number one. I probably have him number four.
Why? Because of the level of opposition he faced?
As of late, yes. Canelo's won more titles than him. He's beat better opposition than him. He's beaten more top 10 guys over the past few years. He's beaten more champions. He's won more title fights. I mean, Crawford doesn't have a terrible welterweight resume, but it's not good enough for pound number one status. Definitely not. But
okay. But what about the argument or the case that I keeping back anything or I'm not keeping back anything, right? No. Right, cool. Just 1 second, right? I just want to pay for Zap. All right, cool. Yeah, so what about the argument of the eye test? Because remember, you got to look at performances in the ring and the display or the exhibition of the skills shown in the rings. Do you think that his exhibition of his skills? How I argue it is this way. Do you think that Terrence Crawford has more skills, not necessarily more home skills, but more skills than Canelo? He could do more things in the ring than Canelo can.
Yes.
Okay, so based on that and looking at his performances in the ring, do you think that against the level of opposition he has faced, he has displayed that ability or that range of skills he has when he faces the opponent?
For the most part, yes. However, I think that's only one piece of the criteria. That's not at all. And there's not really much separating the two in terms of their skill sets, honestly, and their abilities.
Okay.
And I think Canelo's resume is just more proven.
Okay. Because his skills are tested at a higher level, you think?
Yes.
Pretty much. So you would argue that Canelo has more hone skills than Terrence Crawford?
Yes.
No? Yes?
Yes.
What do you think of Terrence Crawford's toughness? Because he demonstrated in his fight against his name.
Machine.
What's the guy's name again? I forgot what his guy's name is.
Eugenides Kavalauskas.
Kavalauskas. Green Machine, right? A Green Machine, right?
Mean Machine.
Mean Machine, right? Don't you think he showed his toughness in that he took the hardest punch that Kavaliauskas could throw? Thank you very much. He took the hardest punch Kavaliauskas could throw, and he came back and he just walked through him and annihilated. So don't you think that should count for something? That he's showing how tough he is?
Yes, but Canelo has also shown it as well. He took Triple G's biggest shot in their second fight, and his chin pretty much just held up like he took a regular jab.
Yeah, and he never been dropped. Canelo has never been dropped in his career. It was crazy.
55 or so fights.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
56, rather.
Yeah, he got stunned by Miguel Cotto's brother.
Jose Cotto.
It was funny.
Yeah, that was on the undercard of Mayweather versus Mosley, I believe.
Yep, 2010. And it was funny, actually, when he got stunned. But it was interesting how he, how without clinching, he was able to use his defense and still, control that dude. It was kind of crazy when I looked at it back. So you think that Canelo has underrated skills, that people don't really understand what he's doing in there?
I think he gets credit for his skills for the most part.
You think so?
Yes.
You think so?
I do.
Okay.
When it comes to what he can do, as far as fighting in the pocket, he's honestly one of the best that I've ever seen at just fighting inside the pocket.
Right. Um. Okay. If you think so, I mean, the zone showed his changing of head slots and stuff, but he's so crafty and tricky in what he does. Like he will, you know how some guys, they clinch up and they kind of just lock up your hand for a second and they let it go to kind of delay your throw off your rhythm. Well, he's weird in the sense that he can do it with his high guard. Like if you throw a jab at him, he could catch your jab with his between his arm and his elbow. He could catch your jab. He could catch your glove, in other words. So your glove's gonna be delayed inside of his hand for like a fraction of a second, and that gives him just enough time to whip a right hand underneath your jab or over your jab, counter you. Like these little sneaky, little crafty things. And I don't know if people, not everything is obvious, but look at his footwork where he would hit you with his. Well, most boxers do this anyway, but how he hit you with the shin on the outside. You ever watch that? That's how he gets some of those bigger guys. They're bigger and stronger than him, so he will shin them. Do you ever see that little sneaky shit that he do? Like that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Like um like he well, we all know Floyd used to stifle guys in the clinch, right? He would take his glove and put it over your nose, you know, sneaky little shit like that. How both guys might use their elbows to to pretty much elbow you. Sneaky little shit like that. How I saw Canelo when Kovalev tried to clinch him, he did like a Tito Felix Trinidad move where he doubled up his high guard and pushed him off. Did you see that too? But he pushed him off and extended his guard on. He extended his guard on the guy's bicep area, so he keeps his hand from coming back. Like it's real sneaky ass shit, man.
Yeah.
So you don't have to head control a guy. You could do like a lot of other things, and that's what keeps them from punching you back. So if you have them occupied dealing with something you're doing, they can't counterpunch you. Like they can't.
Well,
And that's
the
how.
reason why I say what I say is because the guy stands in the pocket pretty much the whole fight, and rarely, maybe a few times in the whole fight, gets hit with
Gets
something
touched.
hard and
Yeah,
clean.
yeah. He don't get touched though. He got crazy defense, and that's why if I would pick between Canelo and Terrence Crawford, but they both got good defense though. But I just don't see Canelo getting knocked out. Like nobody's gonna ever knock him out. I can't see it. I try to explain to people because it's a lot of things you got to do to even get by Canelo. He's too tricky, but that's him, right? Terrence Crawford also is of the same school. He does it a little bit different. He's more like Sugar Ray Robinson style, so he used more footwork. Um, but his pocket work is sick. I mean, when he went up against this kid in was it Scotland? When he crossed the seas to fight this kid in Scotland or something?
Ricky Burns.
Ricky Burns. Did you see that performance he put on Ricky Burns? You're
He put it.
crazy.
Yeah, those commentators were absolutely terrible. They were like, "What has happened to Ricky Burns? This is not the Ricky Burns we knew."
That's because he made him fight a different fight. You know what I'm saying? It was crazy. That's the guy. Bernard Hopkins, I thought, said it best. He said it best. He said, and Andre Ward, they say, you're good at something, I'm going to take it from you. I'm going to take what you do best. Now you got to resort to something else to beat me. And I have the skills to be able to take it from you. And I think that's why people say, oh, Kovalev, he didn't look like himself in that fight. They didn't understand. Canelo took what Kovalev does best from him. Took it from him. From the
Most,
opening bell.
most of Canelo's opponents don't actually let their right hands go as much as they do in previous fights, or go to the
Because of that
body
left
as
hook,
much.
baby. That left hook. And he perfected that left hook. You don't know if it's coming up top. You don't know if it's going to the body. And you don't know if he's going to throw it hard. You don't know if he's going to throw it soft. You don't know what rhythm he's going to throw it at.
Well, the reason Kovalev fought the way he did and kept doubling up his jab is because he had to. I mean,
Yeah.
that's actually the style that gives Canelo issues. If there's something he needs to work on, it's probably his jab actually maybe needs to be used a little bit more to get lead hand control or to actually defend against the left hand because that's the shot that usually gives him the most trouble. But he always slips right hands, and anytime Kovalev fully committed, he got hit with the left hook to the body.
Hmm. But the thing about it is, if you pop, see, this is what I try to explain to people. If you get too predictable popping your jab, the other guy's reading your jab all the time, and then he's going to do all kinds of things with your jab to you, especially if you're throwing the jab the same way all the time. I don't care how hard that jab is. You got to vary that stuff up. You got to vary up its rhythm. You got to vary up the timing. You got to vary up the power. You got to vary the thing, and it's good day. Good morning, morning, morning. Yeah. And that's the problem with boxing today. People say, oh, he have a good jab. No, he don't. No, he don't. Okay, he have one good jab. That's great. He's supposed to have 4 good jabs or 3 good jabs. You get what I'm saying? You got to mix it up. And Hopkins would tell you that. Andre Ward would tell you that. You can't be predictable. The guy's going to read you. You can't come at him the same way either. And everybody said Kovalev outboxed Canelo. I was like laughing. I was like, Canelo done read that shit a long time ago.
I had Kovalev.
But anyway,
I had Kovalev winning the fight before the
knockout. He was more active. He wasn't more accurate. He was more active.
I mean, I just think he was controlling the fight though, because look, Kovalev was a lot more active, but and Canelo may have been landing just maybe a little bit more punches, but he was much less active, and Kovalev was controlling the fight from the outside.
Well, Canelo was just biding his time, though. He was taking his time, keeping his composure, and waiting for Kovalev to break down from the pressure. How I knew that was because when Kovalev started fighting in round 9, I knew that was his last hurrah. And the trainer knew it was his last hurrah. That's why he started fighting. He stopped boxing and started fighting Canelo.
I actually thought both guys were starting to slow down at that point, but I was wrong in round 10.
Because the coach told Canelo go out and finish him in round 10. Told him to finish him, right? And Canelo said he expected to finish him earlier. So Kovalev boxed better than everybody expected. I expected him to get finished in 6. But nope. Nope, he boxed really good. He boxed really good. I give him his props. He is pound for pound on the pound for pound list for a reason. And he earned it the hard way. He didn't get he and GGG earned, and Lomachenko. But with GGG, the problem with GGG, I like GGG. Let me be honest with you, man. I don't really hate the guy or anything. But I just don't like how people they went to the 9th stratosphere with GGG. I just thought it was not. He didn't earn anything. He didn't face nobody of the caliber. Just like how you say Andre Ward, not Andre Ward, what's his name? Bud ain't facing nobody right now, which I agree with. He ain't facing nobody at welterweight, right? But you got to give Bud the credit in that he be beating guys different kinds of ways. He's not beating a guy the same way all the time. He still changed it up. 1 minute he was boxing on the back foot against Jose Benavidez. Next minute he's on the front foot coming at what's his name?
Jose Benavidez.
Benavidez.
Opponent Kavaliauskas.
He just kept coming at him, right? It didn't matter what he do. You a power puncher and shit. I don't care. That don't mean shit. He just walked through him, right? So I'm just saying that, he could do different things. I mean, Gennady Golovkin also can do different things. He boxed off the back foot pretty good. Actually, he boxed off the back foot very well as an amateur boxer. He boxed off the back foot very well. Stay behind the jab, slide out on the jab, stay in the pocket on the jab. I like it. And you could tell that man, he honed that skill. He really perfected that skill. You know what I'm saying? So I got to give him his props for that. But as to so many things he just don't do well. He do okay, but he don't do well. And, I can't understand how.
I heard somebody say, I tried to tell people that Triple G's resume at middleweight shouldn't be compared to Hopkins a couple days ago. And some guy responded.
What? Somebody compared it to Hopkins? Wow.
Well, yeah, I said something like that. Although nobody at that original point compared it. So, and some guy replied to me in the comment section saying that it wasn't a huge disparity between the two, and Hopkins fought welterweights moving up. Well,
True.
at the same time, though, he didn't
So did
really
Hagler.
Well, Golovkin also fought Kell Brook, a welterweight moving up. And in the case of Hopkins, he fought Oscar, who became a champion at 154, who became a champion at 160, although in a robbery. He became a champion. He beat Trinidad, who unified 154 and annihilated a long-reigning champion in William Joppy.
But Oscar wasn't really a middleweight, though.
Yeah,
he wasn't really a middleweight. Tito was a middleweight. I give him that.
Some guy responded to me though and told me Bernard Hopkins' middleweight resume should be completely revoked from history because he cheated in all of his fights, and Triple G is a true fighter, so his middleweight resume is better.
The way how he did his fights?
I guess he's talking about the holding. I didn't
the and stuff.
Yeah, I didn't like the holding from Hopkins and all the headbutting and all that kind of stuff, but
yeah,
I mean, that doesn't take anything away from him.
The referee allowed it. If the ref allowed it, what you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Now the hand wraps thing. If you cheat with the hand wraps, I don't think any referee would allow that, right? Or anybody would allow that. So if they find that out, well, you're in trouble. But I'm gonna say this: Hopkins beat what's his name? He beat some middleweights. Didn't he beat?
Keith Holmes. He beat Segundo Mercado. He beat William Joppy. He beat Antonio Tarver. Actually, that was at light heavyweight.
No, I'm talking about this kid who dominated middleweight, and then Sergio Martinez beat him.
Kelly Pavlik. That was at Kelly Pavlik. That was at 175 though.
Was 175? You sure it wasn't a catch weight?
I can't remember what weight class it was.
It was a catch. It was a catch weight.
Yeah, I don't remember when he. But Pavlik was a prohibitive favorite in that fight.
Yes, he was.
I remember Hopkins was ringside, and he was like nodding at the ringside, riders, like, "You counted me out." I remember he was looking at the ringside guys after the fight.
Yeah, man.
He scored.
You know, but what they argue is the greatest middleweight of all time, Marvin Hagler. What did he make his reputation off? I don't understand. You know, he made his reputation off of guys coming up from welterweight. That's what he made his reputation. I'm not saying that's all he fought. He fought a lot of really. In fact, how he won his championship was against middleweights, right? But I'm just saying that Tommy,
hold on. Tommy is backstage. Tommy
Temper?
Yes.
Okay, bring him on there.
Hello, chaps.
Oh, there you go.
What's good?
What's up, man?
Yes. How you doing, Tangy? Yeah, Anson, you got it sorted?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, that's well overdue.
Yes, sir.
They introduced this probably about a month ago, I think. The mobile streaming.
Oh.
So I thought to myself, you need to know about this.
Yes, man. It's about time. You know, I like to talk boxing. So there's some people who just don't like to talk boxing. They like to talk gossip and crap. I'm into the boxing thing. And I know that boxing, intangible boxing, he's all about boxing. So it's kind of nice to talk with him.
For sure.
Yeah, so Marvin Hagler's reputation as the greatest middleweight. Well, I don't think he's the greatest middleweight. In fact, Hopkins probably has a better middleweight. I don't know about that, honestly. Probably it's pretty close between he and
Hopkins is better because he went up. He actually jumped up 2 weight classes and then dominated light heavyweight for him.
I'm not talking about his light heavyweight career. I'm just talking about his career at middleweight. Their middleweight resumes are pretty comparable. It's close there. I don't think his middleweight resume is better than Robinson's or Greb's.
The Argentinian dude? How about the Argentinian dude?
Carlos Monzon. I think Monzon has an argument for greatest middleweight of all time. You can make a really good argument for him.
But guys, don't you think you need to consider how often these guys were fighting?
Yeah, you could do that too. But I'm looking at championship wins, you know, and the quality of opposition Monzon faced at championship was crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah,
and back to back to back.
So on like Ring Magazine has a list of top 10 fighters per year. Carlos Monzon during his title reign beat top 10 rated guys in every single one of his title defenses.
He beat Hall of Famers in his title defenses.
He beat
not just top 10 guys. He beat Hall of Famers, man. All-time greats. Jose Napoles, Benny Briscoe. I mean, I could go on and on. Emil Griffith. I mean,
he had four
come on
different
now.
wins against undisputed champions in title fights.
Come on,
against
man.
Nino Benvenuti twice, against Emil Griffith twice, and against Jose Napoles. Oh wait, that's 5. So yeah.
You know, this is not even. I mean, it's up to people. I mean, it's up to them. You could watch the fights too, but you watch the fights. The man, he remind me of Ezra Charles. He remind me of Ezra Charles. He was a bad boy.
I don't really see that comparison. Monzon is a little bit less coordinated and wasn't very fast with his hands, but his timing was very good, though. He had like a very piston like right hand.
And he also worked off the jab. Ezra Charles was a jabbing guy, right? Long, rangy, but he knew how to time that jab. And Carlos Monzon is the same kind of creature. Work off the jab. They real good at it. And pivot with it too. I like him. But yeah, that's my number one pick. And everybody always talk about the greatest welterweight of all time is Sugar Ray Robinson, or it's Sugar Ray Leonard, or is who is the other guy they call all the time? I don't know. But they leave out. I don't understand why they leave out Henry Armstrong. I just never understood that. Never understood it. You talk about Henry Armstrong, the greatest. Henry Armstrong had 20 championship fights unbeaten against all-time greats. He went
46-0 in the span of about 2.5 years. He had 19 title defenses at welterweight and 20 wins in title fights, destroying Barney Ross and effectively retiring him afterwards, after him going on a 20-fight winning streak, beating the likes of Seferino Garcia 4 times and also Jimmy McLarnin. He also defeated names like Ernie Roderick, Juan Zarita, although I think Juan Zarita was a bit earlier. He beat Pedro Montanez. He beat Benny Bass, a few other guys.
He beat that little guy. What's his name? He moved up all the way up from featherweight with him.
He also beat Seferino Garcia. Okay, the featherweight
Not
champion.
Seferino.
The featherweight champion he beat was Petey Cerrone.
No, not him. He an all-time great, man.
Baby Arizmendi.
Never mind.
Baby Arizmendi.
Who?
Or Baby Arizmendi.
No. Baby Arizmendi. That bad motherfucker. Yeah, he was a bad boy.
Yeah, he actually defeated Freddie Miller.
Freddie Miller. I know he was he a champion?
Yes.
I think he was. I think he was a champion. I can't remember.
He was the NYSAC featherweight champion.
Right. See, he came up from featherweight too. Or did he?
He was mostly a career featherweight.
Right.
He might be the most underrated fighter of all time.
Hell yeah. But he's a bad boy. I did my homework on that stuff. And I was looking at it like, oh my God, how do they overlook this dude? And I was like, because he mostly fought those small guys. To be fair, he did fight small guys. All right. It was guys coming up from lightweight or guys coming up from featherweight. I mean, the guy that beat him was 5 foot. I think he's 5'10", 5'11". What's his name again? Help me remember his name. The guy who beat him was a good fighter.
Henry Armstrong.
Yeah, the guy that beat Henry Armstrong.
Fritzy Zivic. Yeah, bad boy. Fritzy Zivic is probably the greatest Eastern European fighter of all time.
The man has skills.
Yeah, he's from Croatia. He was one of the most dirty fighters ever as well. He had very bad intentions in the ring, but very good fighter.
But if you watch him fight though, when you watch him fight, what's the kid's name? God, I'm mixing up names. It's not Sadney Sadler. Oh my God. I think it was lightweight. No.
He fought Jake LaMotta.
I know the lightweight. The lightweight that fought Sugar Ray Robinson as well.
Sammy Angat.
And Sammy Angat used to crouch and come in, right? Fritzy Zivic was the guy that used to box you on the outside. Just to watch those fights, man. And of course they could mix it up on the inside too, But Zivic was a bad boy. Bad boy. Sugar Ray Robinson didn't have it easy with him either. I think he fought Robinson twice, right? I'm trying to remember.
Fritz, yes, he fought Sugar Ray Robinson was quoted after the fight as saying he gave him his hardest fight.
That's what I'm saying. He was good. And
Yep.
yeah, he was dirty. He was, by our standards today, you wouldn't call him dirty because now we have MMA, so guys can knee each other and stuff. You wouldn't really. I mean, he would thumb you.
Yeah, Larry Merchant.
You put your eye there, he would thumb you.
I know people don't like Larry Merchant, but he had this one quote about Joe Frazier that would really apply to Fritz Zivich. Larry Merchant had some decent one-liners at times.
Yeah.
He called him a truth machine because whatever was inside of you, he would bring it out of you, whether it's negative or positive. He would bring out the bravery or cowardice in you when he fought. Fritz Zivich was that type of a guy. He would bring everything out of you. He would bring the rage out of you. He would bring the contempt. He would bring the hatred. He would bring the courage. Whatever there was inside of you, he would bring it out.
A provocateur. He provoked it out of you. Hello? What on earth just happened? Why did? Okay. Yeah, man. I mean, I gotta say, that's the guys that Henry Armstrong faced. Fritzy Zivich, beat him twice at the end of his great run. You know what I'm saying?
Armstrong would go on to beat him. He would go on to beat him by a clear unanimous decision later on in his career.
Yeah, when both of them way past it, but I mean, it's cool. I mean, what I'd say is that that's the greatest welterweight in my opinion, unless somebody can come with somebody better and show me. I think that's the greatest. I haven't seen all of Henry Armstrong's fights, but I've seen his style. He never had his head up in the air. His head was down, and he'd bob and weave and come to you, right? He reminded me. Benny Briscoe reminds me a little bit of him. Benny Briscoe had a similar kind of head down and bob and just coming to you. He's a bob and weave kind of guy, right? So from what I saw from Henry Armstrong, I could understand why he gave a lot of guys difficulty because your jab don't do nothing to Henry. Henry's gonna keep on coming. You can't really hit him with a jab unless, again, Fritz Zivich, who's a cheater, he would extend his jab with his elbow. One way or the other, I'm gonna hit you in the hardest part of the head is in front here. So he elbow him. He'd elbow him there. I mean, you got to be crafty, man. You got to do a little something.
Very dirty guy. He and there's one guy I studied by the name of Mike Leonard who fought George Dix in the featherweight champion. I remember there was an actual brawl. They got into a fight in the middle of the ring, and they just started kicking each other. MMA, fucking John Jones, Kamaru Usman style.
Absolutely.
They're just beating the hell out of each other in the middle of the ring on the ground. And
that's bare knuckle brawl, baby.
And then they said after the fight, "Nah, we're homeboys. We didn't actually do shit," just to get out of trouble with the law because the police had to separate them and they detained them and kept them in jail overnight. He made Anthony Galata look like a choir boy. He made him look clean.
Yep. And that happened too with I think it's the one that everybody calls a nice sweet defensive fighter. Willie Pep and Sadie Sandler did something the same way. In fact, I think they punched the referee out the way and kept on going. You know what I'm saying? So, it seems to have been, everybody's so alarmed that Mike Tyson bit Holyfield on his ear. But that's not something so strange to boxing. Holyfield even said he did that to a guy in the amateurs. It's not really that strange to boxing, especially when you have the will to win and you got all that pent up, I got to get you back somehow, some way. That stuff happens. It's a fight. Stuff happens, right? And that's a lot of people don't know that. That's actually from way back in the days. The bare knuckle brawls were even more intense than boxing is today. Guys used to kick each other. There wasn't no Marcus or Queensberry rules. So anything went, right? You could come in there with any style, actually. You could come in any martial style. It's kind of like MMA.
Well, I'd be upset, too, if I was a 25-1 favorite and I got knocked out and dominated in 11 rounds the way Tyson did against the guy with the heart disease.
Well, all I'm saying is he wanted to get back somehow, some way. And Holyfield was just very effective at tying him up, butting him, because he hit him, I think he hit him 2 headbutts and bust his eye or something like that.
Yes.
So he was like, fuck this. You breaking rules? I'm going to break rules too. Let's see how you like that.
Oh my God!
He's gonna get him back.
Well,
he's gonna get him back.
Holyfield would break the rules even more later on in his career. I remember that fight against Asim Rahman when he impregnated his forehead.
Oh my God, that was terrible. I remember that. It was like an alien on his head, wasn't it?
Yes, it looked like his fucking head just
hey,
it looked like
he and Timothy
inside of it.
No disrespect to Timothy Bradley. Salute to Timothy Bradley and also Evander Holyfield. But hey, them guys knew how to use their heads. They really did. They used it in fights.
Oh, let's give a shout out to Andrew Ward while we're at it.
Yeah, Timothy Bradley, at least Timothy.
Hey, and Bernard Hopkins too. They knew how to use their heads.
Yeah,
literally, not just figuratively. Literally, they used their heads.
Even though he used a lot of headbutts and holding, he was a pretty exciting come forward fighter, except for that one fight against Devin Alexander. I remember HBO was hyping that fight up as just the best fight of the year, the best fight, the best, what boxing really needs. And that fight just ended up being the worst possible outcome imaginable. Now, I remember that fight. I can't remember who. I think it was Gary Shaw who promoted the fight, and he put the fight in the most obscure place, the worst possible place it could have been, and it was in an abandoned stadium called Pontiac Silverdome. Like a lot of cities have, these abandoned stadiums that would hold their old football games. The Pontiac Silverdome used to be the stadium for the Detroit Lions.
Nice.
And that. And the stadium was just completely abandoned. It was trashed. It was destroyed, and it ended up getting torn down within the next 5 years. So geographically, it made no sense. And neither fighter was from Detroit. Devin Alexander was from St. Louis, and Timothy Bradley was from California. And Gary Shaw was that type of promoter anyways. Gary Shaw would put fights just in the middle of absolute nowhere. I mean, he would put fights in some random Native American casino in the middle of Washington. Just geographically made no sense aesthetically, and the fight was just horrible. The fight was garbage. It was just full of holding, headbutts, and they were just in the clinch pretty much the whole fight. The fight was just garbage.
But there's always something you could take from those fights. Like, Bradley did what he needed to do to win. The referee didn't say anything. He should have been penalized for the headbutt. But they're saying it's an unintentional headbutt. It is what it is.
I think the fight got stopped on an unintentional headbutt, though. And Bradley wanted a PD.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, but it was allowed by the ref. It is what it is. Devin's a hell of a fighter, though. Devin Alexander, tough guy too, to be taking all those headbutts. What I would have done again, if the referee is not doing the right, is not calling, infringement or illegal thing that's happening, you got to do them back. You have to do them back. You can't be this clean cut fight. You got to do them back. He butting you, you got to bend your head lower and put him back. All right. He hits you low. The referee's not doing anything about it. You hit him back. It's a fight, and in a fight,
well, if he leads
it's nothing like, oh man, he not fighting me clean. Well, if he ain't fighting you clean, you gotta fight him back somehow.
Well, if he's leading with his head, you gotta push him down with your elbow or something like that, or your forearm.
Or you dip your head lower.
If someone's leading with their head and they come at me, I'm gonna hit them with the elbow.
You change levels. So, like, if a guy's come from low to high, right? The only way to combat that effectively, because sometimes you're not as strong as him, is to go low as well. So that's what Kovalev did again against Canelo, which I thought was brilliant. And Buddy McGirt said that's what they were going to do anyway. So they use their length. So if Canelo tried to get past Kovalev or get under his shot, because that's what they try to do. You try to get under your shot. Then what Kovalev could do is change levels. So now you have to meet me face on, unless you cut in an angle that I didn't realize you cut to come at me. So my reach is a factor.
Yeah, I want to talk about how terrible Gary Shaw is as a promoter, because the one time where Gary Shaw made a fight that made sense was in the Super 6 tournament when he put Abraham versus Durrell in Detroit. And yet it still found a way to fuck itself up with Andre Terrell pretty much just getting knocked out by nothing. And you had Vernon Forrest, who fought Carlos Baldemir. just placed absolutely nowhere in the middle of the mountains somewhere in some random casino that nobody's ever attended before. The cameraman just kept switching the camera over to. They kept switching the camera over to Carlos Baldemir's family and kids, just watching his dad just eat uppercuts all fight.
Well, I mean, I don't know too much about that. Like I stick to like boxing. I don't know too much about promotion, to be honest with you, but I guess you're enlightening us on that.
Yes, I did it pretty much just to humor myself.
Okay. All right. Well, let's debate another topic. You come up with a good topic and we debate it.
Lomachenko versus Teofimo.
Woo! That's fire. Pure fire. All right. I'm going to pick Teofimo. You can pick Lomachenko. Let's go.
Yes, I'll pick Lomachenko, and I'm going to state why. Because, well, Teofimo's not as experienced, first and foremost. Lomachenko is very good against punchers. Guys like Teofimo who need to set their feet in order to throw shots, because Loma is very good at being able to pivot around and make you move with him and make you be forced to cut the ring off. I don't think Teofimo is good. I don't think Teofimo sets enough traps. Now, Teofimo is very good at counterpunching, and he's very good at timing your rhythm, but Lomachenko does not have a rhythm. He pretty much changes his rhythm every single time. I mean, pretty much on a second-by-second basis. And another thing, though, that kind of sealed it for me, I originally thought it was a 50-50 fight, but the thing that kind of sealed for me picking Lomachenko is his trainer, because Anatoly is so good. He has just an incredible remedy against punchers. Like, for example, Alexander Usyk versus Murat Gassiev, where he just completely dismantled Gassiev and had Gassiev looking like he wanted to quit, but he just kept coming and just kept eating jabs and left hands. And I mean, probably the most famous example, Lomachenko versus Walters, where Walters quitting on his stool and then ran across the ring to go hug Lomachenko and tell him good job. I mean, I don't know if Teofimo is just, I don't know if he has the overall I don't know if he has the overall skill to handle that. I don't think so.
Okay. To your point, this is what I'm gonna tell you. Alexander Usyk versus Michael Hunter. Alexander Usyk versus the cruiserweight guy who went to heavyweight, fought David Haye, and came back down, right?
Tony Bellew.
Both guys were effective at landing their right hands on Usyk because they had the upper body movement, they had remote footwork, gave him all kinds of problems. Usyk, because Michael Hunter gassed late, Usyk was able to take up the tempo and really, he almost stopped him in the 12th. And with the cruiserweight guy, I forgot his name again, it's terrible. Usyk was able to land some really good body shots on him, slow him down, and knock him out. But both guys show the vulnerabilities in that kind of style of boxing. Lomachenko was a southpaw, but Luke Campbell again showed vulnerabilities in Lomachenko's defense and in his offense. Not just him. The kid who's going to be facing the veteran who's going to be facing Ryan Garcia. Forgot his name too. I don't know why I'm forgetting names just all of a sudden, but he was able to again expose something that all mid-range fighters have a problem with, and that is when they're closing the distance, they don't move their upper body or head enough. They're popping the jab, but they get just straight up and they're coming in. Amir Khan has that problem, even though he's not a mid-range fighter. Manny Pacquiao has the same problem, and Usyk has the same problem. If you're a counterpuncher and you're a good counterpuncher, you can time them, and you're gonna catch them coming in. And that's how he got dropped by what's the guy's name? From Venezuela? Linares. All right. And of course, Those excellent boxers, they got really great footwork, but their main bread and basket way of beating opponents, all the little tricks they do is to go weak side and hit them so that they don't get hit. Right? That's what makes uh, Loma really good, Usyk really good. The trick is to catch them weak side. I hit you, you can't hit me. So that's why they use conventional things like lead foot dominance, or sometimes they pivot around you. It's almost like an inside fighter kind of move, but the way how they do it, they camouflage it. So they'll feint you. One of the things that is underrated about Lomachenko is how fast he feints. He'll hit you with 4 feints in less than a second, you know. And it's hard to keep track of him because that's how he confuses you. I'll give him that. And that, you see, even though he's going weak side, you know he's going weak side, you can't stop him. That's a problem. But anyway, Luke Campbell was able to do it for most of the fight. And I believe now the game plan that Teofimo Lopez says they're going to employ, I don't know if he could do it though. But anyway, let me make my argument strong. He said he's going to use his body weight, his size, his mass, and he's going to bully Lomachenko. That means what he's going to try and do is what Lomachenko in his second fight against Orlando Salido. In his second fight, Orlando Salido used that tactic. So Teofimo Lopez is going to try to use that tactic. Mind you, that was Lomachenko's second fight. He has since that time evolved immensely, right? Because remember, he came from an amateur background, so he didn't. So he's pretty wily to all of that stuff already. But this is going to be what Teofimo is going to try and do. The thing that you're underrating with Teofimo Lopez, unlike all those other punches, is he's a hell of a boxer. When I say a hell of a boxer, Jorge Linares versus Ryan Garcia, who are you picking to win? Linares or Garcia? I mean, let me make my point.
I'll pick Ryan Garcia to stop him late. Maybe in the middle round. I don't know.
Right. Teofimo Lopez is of that generation. Ryan, Devin, Shakur, Gervonta's a little bit older than them, but he's of that generation. He's a far better boxer than a lot of people are giving him credit for, but people who've seen him come up in the amateurs know that. And so he can box. Like he's not like he's not even like Jorge Linares. Like Jorge Linares is a good, solid boxer, but he's not on Teofimo Lopez level. And Lopez, okay, who cares how big he is? The important thing is he can box. So if he doesn't succeed at doing this particular game plan, he can resort to boxing from a very long range distance. So if it's not working out that he can't close the distance, inside, deep in the pocket, then he can go outside of the pocket and try and box him on the outside, right? I think he has the reach advantage. I think he's clearly bigger than Lomachenko. He might come in there terrible, but he might come in there 20 pounds heavier than Lomachenko, maybe even 30 pounds heavier. He looks like he's a 160-something pound guy. So he's a big guy. So he's going to have that size. And this is the thing. If Lomachenko starts clinching up or try to catch a breath on the inside, he's going to be in problems because that's what Teofimo Lopez will be counting on. But I don't know how much. I believe Lomachenko got a lot more experience than Teofimo Lopez. I don't think he's ever faced a fighter like Teofimo Lopez, however. Even in his extensive amateur career, this is the pros anyway. So it's going to be different because this is a new generation. This is a new breed. Lomachenko's generation was really like Rigondeaux and those kinds of guys. This is a whole new crop of fighters he's facing, you know, even fighters younger than Luke Campbell, you know. So it's going to be different. Luke Campbell's a good fighter, but I don't think like these prospects coming up, I think that they're going to be great fighters when all is said and done. So I don't know how it's going to turn out with Teofimo Lopez and Lomachenko per se, but I would say this. I'm not going to put Teofimo Lopez in the category of, oh, he's inexperienced. I ain't buying that crap.
Okay.
I'm not buying that. That's the part that I don't buy. But as to Lomachenko beating him, it's very probable because he's very difficult. He's very difficult to read, like you said.
So as to why I'm picking Loma again, I do see some flaws in Lopez's game. Now I understand Lopez can box, but he can box in the sense that Shane Mosley could box at 135. Like, yes, it is a weapon in his arsenal, but some fighters just come to their natural style as their career progresses. Shane Mosley was a good boxer early on in his career and used more footwork, but he came into his welterweight body, into his best performances, like against John Molina and Oscar De La Hoya, and he came into his natural style, which is as a puncher. And I think that's kind of the direction Teofimo is going to come into. I think Teofimo, like you said in his game plan, he's going to try to outmuscle and outstrength sort of Loma, and he's going to probably try to time him with big shots. But here's the one issue I see with Lopez in terms of his flaws. He doesn't keep an active enough guard. Meaning what? He stays in one position for way too long. He doesn't change his guard. He doesn't switch out of the high guard or a Philly shell stance enough. Okay, meaning you know what his next move is going to be. You know the shot he's going to try to counter you with. Right? And it's much easier to control him, especially with a guy like Aloma who's so active with his guard and feints so much.
A lot.
Like that, right? And there's a difference between Campbell and Lopez. Now, I'd pick Lopez to beat Campbell, but it's a different style matchup. All right, when it comes to Luke Campbell is a much more active fighter. He throws a lot more punches. All right, Campbell tends to utilize his timing a bit more in terms of letting his hands go. All right, Campbell's a very calm fighter. Campbell's a guy who's like a jack of all trades. He's sort of like he's a man of many traits, but a master of nothing. But he can do so many things inside of the ring. And he's very good at fighting you off. Good at fighting on the inside as well. Lopez doesn't really fight on the inside like that. So, Campbell's the type of guy, he can adjust to all the different things Loma can do and still keep up with him. And
he sparred him already, so he knew him a bit.
Yeah, so I don't know if I don't think it's the same. That's just my opinion. I think Lopez would have to knock him out in order to win.
I don't know about that. He might be surprised. Like I said before, those guys are susceptible to the right hand because they don't move their head. But he could. It's been done before. He could catch him with a well-timed shot. The thing with Lopez is he shouldn't load up. Once you don't load up, it'll come free and nice and easy. And we'll have to see how his defense is against Loma. Loma will test his defense trying to get entry points to get in on him. His thing is to do like Luke Campbell and tag him every time he try to come in. And Loma is a strong guy. I think he's strong. He might be stronger than Lopez. We'll see. He's physically strong, so he can bully his way into there if he has to. That's what he did to Luke Campbell. He said, "Oh, this is what it is? Okay, tactically I can't beat you. I'm gonna bully you. Let's see what happens." And he pushed him back. He pushed Campbell back. Crazy.
Teofimo's a better athlete than Campbell, but he also commits to his punches a lot more than Campbell. Campbell, in the fight against Loma, and in fights in general, emphasizes speed more than power in terms of his combinations. He likes to finish off. He likes to commit to his last shot in his combination to leave that lasting impression. Lopez doesn't do that. Lopez is going to commit to all of his shots, and he's going to try to hurt you with all of his shots. So as he's transitioning from one side to the other to get power on his shots, Loma can just reset his feet, and Lopez's attack will be pretty much null and void at that point.
If he's the part where he resets, that's when you attack him. You don't attack him when he's not resetting. Unless he's coming at you. Luke Campbell let Loma off the hook. I mean, they're both southpaws, so it's a little bit different. But he let him off the hook and let him reset and circle out. He should have chased him down. And that's where Teofimo watching that fight, of course, it's southpaw with southpaw, right? But he'll have to change up his angles and everything. But that's where he could get Loma. He don't even have to be a better boxer than Loma.
Yeah. I mean, I could see him. I could see him getting caught. That's the shot I give Lopez, but I still see it as like a 35% chance Lopez wins and a 65% chance Loma wins. Just my opinion. So there's definitely a chance that Lopez wins, but I'd more favor Loma at this point.
I can see that. I can see that. I can see that happening. I would say that Lopez, though, I think I give him a little bit more of a chance because I don't think that the experience factor is that big a deal.
Mm-hmm.
This is gonna be game plan and game strategy. I've seen guys with much less skills than other guys beat them because of their game plan. So if he has a good game plan, and Loma showed that he has vulnerabilities. We've seen it where Pedraza is a special guy. Luke Campbell's a special guy. And why do I keep on forgetting the Venezuelan's name? He's a special guy, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think that it's not Loma's time anymore. Like his time's passed. These guys are just way too hungry. They're too fresh. They're too young, and they want that. They want that glory.
Yeah,
So
I could actually sort of I can sort of understand. I think Top Rank might actually want Lopez to win a little bit more because that's if he wins the fight, that's their golden goose. That's a new American
that's a golden goose.
They can promote easily. He's a very favorable character. He calls out guys. He talks a lot of shit.
And then he does all those little performances and dances at the end and all that kind of crazy stuff.
Like the backflips, the fucking
entertaining.
Yeah, and the Heisman Trophy and the Joe Burrow jersey and shit. I mean, that dude, he's pretty entertaining, and he's got a very fan-friendly style. He's a puncher. He's very good at timing his opponents. That's a guy you can promote. And at 140, you got those killers like Josh Taylor and Jose Ramirez. Oh, that's another fight I want to talk about because I originally favored Josh Taylor, but not only has he gotten rid of Shane McGuigan, but I've also sort of underrated Jose Ramirez's skills a bit.
Oh, Jose Ramirez can box. People think he's just a pressure fighter. Nope, he can box.
I think pressure fighting is probably his best tactic, and he isn't.
He uses boxing to pressure fight. You don't just come in there.
That is true. But I think what Ramirez does well, he does exceptionally well. Which is he's very crafty on the inside. He uses a lot of different tricks. He likes to pull down your guard. He likes to manipulate your guard. He likes to take advantage of body positioning and control and leverage. And Josh Taylor is going to be in for some hell in that fight because yes, he can box, but he's also he likes to trade a lot. He likes to bang. And if he's fighting against Jose Ramirez, a guy who I think is a little bit stronger than he is, he could get caught with some shots. I don't see him getting knocked out. He has a very good chin. He's got decent defense, but I mean, he's gonna have to sort of fight a little bit like Spence did against Porter. He's gonna have to use his leverage and push him to the back foot and then go to the body in that fight. And that's gonna be a very tough fight for me. Very 50-50.
He won't get those free shots that he got against Reggie's program. He won't get those free shots. Defense. I think that Ramirez keeps his defense tight.
Yeah, Ramirez does. The guys who give Ramirez issues, though, are guys with excessive movement. But Josh Taylor doesn't have that. Now, he was able to beat guys like Amir Imam because Amir Imam just wanted to stand in the pocket and fight him on the inside. He struggled against Jose Cepeda, though, because Cepeda was boxing him early, and he was a bit too gun-shy. And he doesn't have a lot of tricks to getting inside. But if you exchange with him, he's going to make you pay. And that's exactly what he did to Hooker. He caught him with the left hook, which he has serious power in. And he would then proceed to
set him up to get that, though. He went to the body first. He was going to the body. And Hooker pulled down his guard, protect his body, and come up on top.
Yep. So I think that fight's 50-50. I think whoever wins that fight. If we see Josh Taylor at his full potential, I could see him beating some guys at 147. I could.
Which guys you talk about?
I mean, anybody like a Garcia, a Porter, a Thurman.
Which Garcia?
He'd be very good against the Spence.
Mikey?
Both.
Mikey?
Yes.
You serious?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think
Mikey's problems for anybody. Mikey's problems for anybody.
He
got skills.
I think I think Josh Taylor's a pound for pound talent, of top pound for pound talent. He just has some things he needs to patch up in his game. Another thing
I don't know. I don't know about Mikey though. Mikey, I think people underestimate. He's how easy he does things, but he's a minimalist too. He's tricky.
Another reason why I'm also giving Jose Ramirez a chance is because Taylor likes to extend his guard a lot, especially when he's fighting you at mid range. And if he throws hooks at him, he could catch him on the tempo and possibly hurt him.
You know what I'm saying? And Mikey got power too. And Mikey's in the same gym as Jose Ramirez. I mean, if you're talking about Ramirez versus Taylor, and you think Taylor could beat Mikey, I just don't understand that. Mikey's just, I mean, I could break down a lot of things Mikey did that is just crazy.
I don't think Mikey's
and he does it so cash. Oh, he's good.
I don't think Mikey's that good at 147 though. I don't think that's his weight class because he came into this bench fight looking like the Pillsbury. He came into this bench fight looking like the Michelin Man. Like he was just not in great physical condition.
Did you see him against Jesse Vargas? What do you thought of that fight?
That was a pretty close fight. I gave it to Mikey
Really?
5.
Okay, you thought it was close. Okay.
I thought Vargas was winning some of the early rounds, and then
what was he doing? What was Vargas doing that made you think that he was in a close fight or anything? His activity?
His jab was pretty active. He was mixing it up pretty well. Mikey had.
But was he landing with his jab? Was he landing?
Yes, he was landing jabs. Not a lot. He was landing somewhat infrequently, but Mikey was not really doing anything. He was just standing at the end of his jab. The tide started to turn once he dropped Vargas. I think it was in the middle rounds, 5th or 6th round. He dropped him, and then the momentum swung in his favor.
So you didn't see all the body punching that Mikey was doing?
I saw it, but I saw it down the stretch when he found his way on the inside.
Trust me. He didn't just knock down Jesse Vargas. He was stealing body shots, especially on the inside. You see, that's the thing about these boxers. Nobody really sees what they're actually doing. Everybody's occupied with the other guy, not watching at what they're doing. Mikey is sick. Like, if I were to try, I'm not slowing down nothing, but if I were to show you what this guy was doing in that fight to Jesse Vargas, why he dropped Jesse Vargas, you would be shocked. Because it's not just throwing punches, right? And boxing is a mental game. You put mental pressure on people. So there's a lot of things that Mikey was doing in there, but he wasn't throwing. That doesn't mean that he didn't see the shots and stuff. He was making Jesse Vargas panic. So, like, for instance, if I'm popping you with a jab, and I suddenly change my head slot, slip the jab, but I don't do nothing else. I think like if I'm coming in, and then you back off, and I just go back to stalking you, right? I'm constantly making you uneasy. Even though I'm not throwing any punches, I'm making you burn energy, right? Then you're punching at my guard. I slip the guard. This time, I slide to the inside, just touch you with a shot to the body. I don't hit you with a hard shot, but mentally you're shocked. So that shot feels more than it really is. That's what I tell you. Boxing is 90% mental, 10% physical. I just want to show you I could touch you. And then I slide back out off the jab. That's it. Nothing special, nothing super fast, nothing super quick, nothing super flashy, but I'm getting in your head because you watching me. You know what I'm doing, right? See, that's the thing with boxing. And I think a lot of people don't understand how high and how mentally high these guys are in the game. You see, when he knocked him down, he didn't even know he was going to get knocked down. But he had preconditioned him for the knockdown. And then he started crashing his ass. Then he backed off.
Yeah. What are some other fights on the schedule? We have Delphine Persoon versus Katie Taylor too.
Woo! I love that fight.
And then we have the main event in that fight, Julio Cesar Martinez versus McWilliams Arroyo. McWilliams Arroyo, for those of you who don't know, maybe saying this, he's fought Roman Gonzalez. He's fought I'm Not Wrong. He's fought Kazuto Ioka. He beat Carlos Cuadras. And he was robbed against I'm Not Wrong, in my opinion. In a fight in Thailand. there's always been a lot of corruption surrounding combat sports in Thailand, and I know people from Thailand who can testify to me. People who've been to Muay Thai fights, seeing officials like bet on fights. But that fight should be absolute fireworks.
Oh man,
Taylor, unless Taylor moves out in her jab and just keeping her at distance, and maybe even getting a little bit physical and actually getting on the inside of her to sort of give Pursuit a taste of her own medicine to smother her. I got to pick Pursuit in that fight.
Pursuit's a bad girl, man.
Yeah.
But what happened with the Amanda Serrano fight? They were supposed to fight.
Negotiations troubles. Serrano is saying that Eddie Hearn just fucked her or something like that. Just fucked her over. And Katie Taylor. I haven't even been keeping that close track, but I saw them just going back and forth on Twitter. And also, in the case of
if Serrano was to face Taylor, who you pick to win?
Taylor.
I got Serrano.
And also, in the case of Martinez versus Arroyo, I'm picking Julio Cesar Martinez to win the fight.
All right. Okay.
Although I think
Martinez, not Arroyo.
Yeah, Martinez is the guy coming up. He's the WBC flyweight champion of the world. He beat Christopher Rosales, knocked him out actually. He beat Jay Harris in his last fight. He fought Charlie Edwards on the undercard of Jacobs versus Chavez. Very, very game fighter, very athletic, just horrid defense. But at the same time, it's partly because he sometimes he doesn't even have to use it sometimes. He's just so explosive and gets under your punches so quickly. He's 5'2". He's very short. In the case of Arroyo, he's extremely powerful with his left hook. He just has lights out power with it. In the case of Martinez, he's a pressure fighter who throws a lot of hooks and is very active.
Decision or knockout?
Knockout. I'm picking Martinez by an probably 8th round stoppage.
Okay. Over. What do you think of my boy, Wenyan Maniotin, 54-0? Come on, man. Give it up to him.
He said he's coming back, actually.
I know. I heard that too. I still got to give it up to him, though.
Yeah, I think he does have the potential to become one of the best strawweights of all time, like up there with Lopez. But he's got to find a way to unify. Part of the reason those fighters at strawweight don't unify is because they're paid so little because of the little recognition they get. And so they're just unwilling to pay sanctioning fees. Like, I don't think there's been a single title defense of unified titles in the last decade. There's been a few unifications, once for 2 vacant belts. I think it was Takayama versus I can't remember his name right now. Francisco Rodriguez Jr. And you had Akira Higashi, Kazuto Ioka. I want to see him face Wilfredo Mentes or knock out CP Freshmart. Knockout CP Freshmart is probably the other champion in the division. He's
been around for like forever though.
Yeah. You also have Wilfredo Mendez.
Yeah.
Who's the WBO champion, who's also a pretty good fighter. He beat Gabriel Mendoza in his last fight, a top 10 guy. And he also beat who was it for the WBO? Vic Saludar for the WBO title. He's a good fighter. He's a slick southpaw. I think he could give them dudes some issues.
Yeah, man. Get some. You gotta get. I mean, you can't be better than Ricardo Lopez. If we don't face everybody, Ricardo Lopez faced everybody. He went up to minimum. Minimum weight is strawweight. He went up to light flyweight, I think it is, and faced the rest of them that were champions down below. So I mean, you gotta to get respect. You got to at least try and face the best, whoever is the best, or who is number 1 ranked by whatever transnational boxing board, whatever. You got at least face somebody who's the best.
Really, if you're a champion, as long as you're facing guys who are ranked in the top 10, that's really what matters to me. I mean,
now, I'm always a proponent of the best facing the best. If
that's not available,
if the best, like how I put it is like this: if the best guy don't want to face me, because the next best guy underneath that guy, right? I face him. I just want the best facing the best.
Yeah. Oh, there's
No?
another fight on the schedule. Jose Ramirez is coming back against Victor Postal.
Which Jose Ramirez is this now?
Jose Carlos Ramirez. That's
Oh
100
yeah,
pounds.
they were supposed to have that fight before COVID-19.
Yeah, but I think they're holding it on the 28th now. That's a fight I'm looking forward to.
And what do you think of these guys who they keep on getting tested COVID-19 positive, but they're not showing any symptoms? Like Jamal Herring.
Well, you see, there was this narrative going on about how COVID, it's so easy to get back and you can get sick again and all this, but you actually get antibodies for it. They were found. So after you get COVID, it's much less impactful after you get it. And I've probably had it before because I'm around people who are exposed all the time.
Right.
But I'm very young, so I'm asymptomatic most of the time. In the case of Jamel Herring, he's probably asymptomatic, but it's still contagious in his case. So, probably nothing happening to him. I think maybe the Kendo fight should be scheduled a little bit sooner than it was previously because he's probably going to heal quicker because of the antibodies.
But he's been tested positive last month, and then now he's tested positive again this month. How come it's taking so long?
Well, the first time he tested positive, okay. So the reason why it took so long is because the first time, I believe it was probably because he tested positive just as he got it. Because he's taken COVID tests before that, like as he was going through a drive-through. I saw him going through a drive-through on Twitter, and he took a swab through his nose, and he almost started crying in the middle of the car, but he tested negative for that. Then he all of a sudden tests positive. So
exactly. How is that possible?
he must have got it before. He must have got it in between those two times. But
how can you get it twice though?
I guess he healed and then he got it again. So I guess he should heal quicker this time. I'm not sure. I like Jamel Herring as a fighter. Shakur Stevenson has decided to vacate his 126-pound title to move up. Same with Emmanuel Navarrete. He's moving up to 126, but Shakur Stevenson's going up to 130, and he's currently the number one contender for the WBO belt to Jamel Herring. And that's a fight I'd love to see. Although those guys are homeboys, so I don't see them getting in the ring.
Oh, they might. There's money here. Money on the line.
Yeah, Jamel Herring and him get in the ring, but the fight I think Stevenson is looking for is Burchell.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fight I think is 50-50. Because even though I'm really high on Stevenson as a fighter, he's probably my favorite young guy out of Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, and Tank Davis and all them kind of guys. Mm-hmm. I like him more than those guys by a pretty decent margin. As far as a fighter and as a person, I think Burchell could be like his Castillo because Burchell has the style. There are some guys who are come forward that are just food for outboxers, but there are some guys who come forward that really trouble outboxers because, especially against guys like Stevenson and Mayweather, a shot that really gives them issues is that sort of offbeat double left jab that guys like Castillo and Maidana used, where they would sort of come in off of very awkward angles, and then they would transition their weight differently after throwing a shot, and then
low to high, baby, low to high.
Yes.
And stay off the center line.
Yeah. And Burchell's also good at cutting the ring off. I don't think Stevenson has faced anybody who's particularly very good at cutting off the ring. Joet Gonzalez is probably the best guy he's faced in terms of cutting the ring off, and he pretty much is keeping on straight lines the whole fight. For 12 rounds, he just got his face beat in. I think
Shakur's working on his inside game. The last guy he fought, he showed some real sharp inside work. So I think Shakur's prepared for that. If he has to fight on the inside, he fights on the inside.
Yeah, but I just think it'll be very tough because while Stevenson has a good jab to the body, he's got power when it comes to his body shots. That power to the head, I don't know if he'll be able to get his respect. I think he's going to have to really get to the body early.
Mm-hmm. For sure. But I think even though he's young, he ain't weak. He's strong. And he even looks like he's putting on more size and getting stronger. I have a feel. See this? Well, it depends on what kind of fight Stevenson wants. But he's still inexperienced, so we'll see. Maybe 2-3 more fights at super featherweight. Put him in there with Belchel.
Yeah, that's actually what they said. I think that's what Stevenson's manager said. I don't know if it was Andre Ward or somebody else, but they said couple fights at 130, then face maybe he can fight a guy like a Lamont Roach or somebody to prepare him.
Right.
Another guy I like down there is Chris Colbert at 130. He struggled against Jezreel Corrales in his last fight, but Jezreel Corrales is a good fighter. He probably has he has a better resume than Haney and Ryan Garcia probably at this point with that win over Corrales, because Corrales knocked Takashi Uchiyama, a long-reigning 130-pound champion, the fuck out. He destroyed him.
This is Corrales who used to fight at 135? 135? Yeah, 135?
130.
Okay. So another Corrales that faced a kid from Texas. Southpaw?
Some other Corrales. Cancio? Andrew Cancio?
No, this Corrales was a former world champion that I'm talking about.
Can't think of any other Corrales besides Diego.
That was another Corrales. That's all right, cool. Yeah, that's some exciting upcoming fights, man. Bro, it's nice to let me test out StreamYard. You could use it on your phone as well. It looks pretty good. I don't know how it's coming out on YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't stream very much because, I mean, there's just not much to talk about. But, I mean, I might do it for, like, post-fights and all that kind of stuff.
Well, there's all kinds of things we could talk about, man. All kinds of things. If you want to talk about stuff. I know you like talking about boxers and their records and stuff like that, so we could always talk about that. Okay, I know you're doing some homework.
Yeah.
Moses Costello says, man, stop eating. Get the Smoke says, is this your first hosted panel? Nice. John James says, Loma. All right, man.
We also have Sor Rungvisai coming back against I'm Not Renrong, the former IBF.
Again? Didn't they face each other before?
No, they didn't.
No?
Now, I'm Not Renrong is just completely shot. He is shot to pieces. In fact, he got knocked out by the guy Floyd beat on New Year's Eve, Tenshin Nasukawa, in kickboxing. So he should get...
He was in kickboxing?
Yeah. I'm Not Renrong is an interesting character. He's fought in kickboxing. He's an established amateur boxer. He's 40 years old. He went on a crazy run beating Arroyo in a robbery, in my opinion. Kazuto Ioka. He beat... who else? John Rio Casimiro. He ended up getting knocked out.
He beat Casimiro?
Yeah. He ended up getting knocked out by Casimiro in the second fight.
Oh,
and he also beat damn, what's his name? Zoshin.
He is long and rangy, eh? That long rangy kind of.
Yeah.
And he moved around a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't know he beat Casimiro.
Yeah. So I'm picking Rungvisai to knock him out. And probably
Rungvisai so strong for that weight class. He's real strong.
He is, but I think they're actually fighting at 118. That's like a bridge for both fighters to not
bantamweight,
have the pressure to make the weight. Yeah.
Okay. So Song Rungvisai is done with super flyweight.
He'll probably go back down, but he just doesn't want to have the pressure of going down right now after the long layoff. After losing to Estrada.
Okay.
Yeah, at 115 weight class, if Rungvisai stays, that'd be a great tournament. But I think the best tournament that could possibly be made in terms of matchups is either 115 or 126.
Featherweight?
Yeah.
Well, who's that featherweight right now?
I mean, imagine if Gary Russell Jr. and Josh Warrington.
Gary Russell's I think Gary Russell's moving up.
No, he's at 126. He's not moving up.
He said so?
No, he's not. Yeah, he's not moving up.
He told me that he was going. He said on.
He said he was willing to move up and fight Tank Davis, but let's be honest, that's probably just for cash. So I don't see him moving up. But like, imagine if he Josh Warrington.
But Leo Santa Cruz moved up.
Yeah, he still holds the title at 126 though. So the four champions at 126 are.
But he's going to fight Tank.
Yeah, that's true, but he'll just get knocked out in that fight. But Leo Santa Cruz, But Leo Santa Cruz at one is the four champions at 126. Navarrete is going to fight for it against Michael Conlon for the WBO title that Stevenson vacated. You have Warrington, you have Russell, and then you have Leo Santa Cruz. Josh Warrington versus Gary Russell Jr. is one of the best fights to make in the sport, though. That fight would be the fight of the year, easily.
Yeah, because a lot of activity.
Yeah, Josh Warrington's one of my favorite fighters, honestly.
I think I picked Warrington in that one.
I don't know.
I'm gonna tell you why. He's tough. He's tough. And okay, I'm gonna tell you why. He's young. Everybody talking about Gary Russell Jr.'s experience, but I mean, Warrington's gonna bring it. He gonna bring it. He really gonna bring it. Is Gary ready for that? He old, you know. He's not young. That young boy gonna make him work for his money. I mean, he hasn't fought a lot, but
Warrington. How do I put it? Warrington's going to get caught coming in a lot in that fight. Warrington's
but he's big and strong.
Yeah,
he can take it.
He's going to have to sort of match his activity, sort of like Nyambayar brought it as well. Nyambayar struggled early on in the fight, was just getting dominated by Russell's hand speed, and especially probing jab that he was just pinning him down with and just unleashing combinations on him. As soon as he went to the body, he started to wear him down. And he made it pretty.
Hold on 1 second. I'm just switching something. Hold on 1 second. Okay, here we go. I'm back. Yeah, go ahead and say what you were saying now.
All right. So
you were Gary Russell Jr.
So Nyambayar made the fight close with body work for the most part because he was neglecting it early. Yeah. I think Warrington may go to the body, and he could possibly wear him down too because Warrington only has 7 knockouts through 30 wins, but he has power. He didn't score a single knockout through his first 15 fights, but he's scored 7 knockouts through his last 15. And Carl Frampton actually cited his power as one of the main things that Josh Warrington does well. His pop.
Right. He knocked down Carl Frampton a couple of times.
Yeah, I did.
He's not a one punch hitter quitter, but he grinds you down. He wears you down.
Yeah, Warrington also, also just completely dominated Lee Selby as well. That fight was a split decision, but it should not have been a split decision. I mean, it was completely bogus whoever scored it for Lee Selby because the fight was not very close. I had it, I think, 9 rounds to 1 and 2 even or something like that.
Wow. Have I seen that fight? I don't think I've seen that fight.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that fight.
Check out some of Josh Warrington's fights. Josh Warrington is not a guy with a deep amateur background. He pretty much came up through grassroots fighting and small hall stuff where he would basically be fighting in local gyms, pretty much just improving his name. Maybe he'd be fighting in big stadiums, but in like the middle of a bar there. And he pretty much came up that way, beating journeyman just immediately and just suddenly just moving his name up. And as soon as he got a better record, he started fighting for regional titles. He didn't have an amateur background to help him get up. That's why I like him. He grinded his way up.
He's more of a fighter, kind of street fighter, kind of guy, learning boxing.
Sort of.
Interesting.
It's kind of learned on the job.
Now, let's talk about the old guys in boxing, since we were talking about boxing. A lot of old guys talking about coming back. Sergio Martinez, what do you think? 45 years old, my age.
Oh, man. You know, we should have a card with Oscar De La Hoya versus We should have a card with Adrian Broner and Maidana coming back to fight in a rematch. And Julio Cesar Martinez, or not Julio Cesar Martinez, and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. and Sergio Martinez having a rematch on the same card. We should have that.
Nah.
We should
Martinez will beat up Martinez will beat up Junior right now.
Right
Junior's
now?
not the same fighter. Yeah, he's not the same fighter.
Yeah, in that fight.
Martinez will either go up to what, super middleweight or Martinez is not that big.
Yeah, in that fight though, in that fight between Martinez and Chavez, I remember Chavez was just taking a hellacious ass whooping and just still coming forward. Like there were times where he had him on the ropes, and you would count to like 5 seconds before he would throw a right hand, or before he would throw a punch at all.
That was one of the life-changing. I think it was life-changing for both Martinez and Chavez Jr. I never seen Chavez Jr. take so much punishment. Took a lot of left hand.
Yeah.
But in exchange, he wrecked Martinez's foot with that knockdown. Messed him up.
Yeah.
So that was a hell of a fight.
Yeah, Martinez hurt him in the 12th, or Chavez hurt him in the 12th. But I mean, that's pretty much because. Oh God. Oh, one thing I remember though is Martinez was on the ropes, just badly hurt, about to be finished off by Chavez, and all of a sudden Martinez just comes storming back and beats him to all the way across the ring, and just has Chavez on the ropes near the end of the round.
Yeah, I mean, he had heart. He had a lot of heart. Could fight. Could fight. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to him coming back. He actually has an opponent already.
Yep, in Spain, I think it was. I just remembered yesterday that Anthony Yard had a fight in February. The guy who lost.
Oh, he did?
He had a fight against somebody who was 4-48. 4 wins, 48 losses. And he had the fight in a shed in the middle of Spain.
Okay. Whatever floats his boat, I guess. That's crazy.
Now, that's what I call parity in the sport. He knocked him out in like 2 rounds.
I guess that was just a stay busy, see how you feel, see how things work.
Sort of. I mean,
he did come from a knockout loss.
I mean, even UK journeymen like Ernie Smith and Louis Van Poech, or however you say his name, not even them are as bad as that dude. That dude is terrible.
He just wanted to get some kind of work or something.
Yeah.
Just to see if he was okay.
I don't know who.
And maybe that's the only guy that agreed to fight him.
Yeah. God, I think still has potential. He's got skills. He's very physically talented.
Hot topic. Mike Tyson returning. Do you think he could make it back to the heavyweight division and be...
I think he could beat Dave Allen, and I'm not even kidding. Dave Allen is absolutely atrocious, horrible heavyweight. I think he could probably beat him. Honestly, I don't see him really making it. It's just going to be some exhibitions, and like for charity, I think it was. I think that's what he said. It's nothing going to be very serious.
So you don't think that he could, at some point, for the right opponent, jump back in and have 2 professional fights, make some money?
He's making enough money.
Depending on how he looks in exhibitions.
I'm sure he's making enough money on his weed farms. I don't think he needs that. Like, a lot of fighters just came up from struggling and all that kind of stuff. Like, do you really want to get paid to punch people in the face and get punched in the face at the age of 54 when you could just be making a lot of money on weed farms? Like, really?
Yeah, but think of the pay. One night work. Why? One night of work. That kind of payday that you get one night of work.
The health risk.
You can't get that. You can't get that anywhere else. That's a hell of a payday.
I think he could, though. He has enough sources of income in order to make that money. I just think I don't think it's worth it.
$10 million in one night. 12 minutes. You remember this is Mike Tyson we're talking about. That name alone. Everybody gonna watch him because everybody's been inspired by him in some way, shape, or form. They're gonna watch.
I think health comes before wealth.
True, but he does an exhibition, he does 2, right? Against some opponent, who knows? Evander Holyfield's training his ass off, so who knows? Might be him versus Holyfield. He might just come back and face Holyfield in the pros. Who knows? Why not get paid for it? I mean, you're gonna hit him anyway. He's gonna get hit. Why not get paid to get hit? Even if it's an exhibition, they're not gonna touch each other. They're gonna hit each other, right? So why not? I mean, why not?
Who knows? Maybe just Be scripted. Oh God! I just heard another fight coming up: Derevyanchenko versus Charlo.
Oh, that's a good fight. If Charlo really takes it, that's a fight.
Well, I heard they're in
I'm gonna be
talks.
on. I'll be honest. I'll be honest with you, man. Derevyanchenko has good chances in that fight.
Charlo actually offered the fight, and Derevyanchenko took the fight. So there's probably going to meet sometime in October. That fight, I'm going to pick Derevyanchenko to actually win.
Got good chances. Now, don't look past Charlo. He's a big, strong guy, very strong guy. But his jab is his jab is not going to be that great a factor in that fight.
Yeah, when it comes to
Derevyanchenko do.
Charlo's jab is powerful and very snappy, but it's not. He doesn't control the distance with it. He doesn't feint with it a lot. He likes to pretty much just throw singular jabs and try to extend his stance to maintain distance. He just doesn't control the distance that well. He has great timing and all that, and great power. But against a guy like Derevyanchenko, and his best shot is the uppercut. I think he knocked was it J-Rock with it? Yeah, knocked him out with it. Yeah. Derevyanchenko is going to be moving laterally. It's much harder to hit somebody who moves laterally rather than in and out with an uppercut.
And he doesn't just move laterally. He moves laterally to the inside.
Yes, and he's going to be punishing Charlo's body. Nobody Charlo's really faced is actually committed to a strict body attack.
Well, Adams did, but he's not a Derevyanchenko.
Well, Adams is an 154-pound guy. Can't punch.
That's true. But he was very effective getting on the inside.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're allowing Adams to get inside of you, there's no way Derevyanchenko can't. I think Derevyanchenko will make a decision.
He will. You know, can he do better than Triple G? I will see. I don't know. You know, Derevyanchenko gonna have to be careful on the outside, but once he gets within that range, now Jamal Charles strong though, so that's where Derevyanchenko tried to do something. He could just tie him up and turn him around wherever he wanted to do him. Because I know he's beast strong. He's really, really strong. But I don't know what his chances are to win that fight. That's a good challenge for him.
Yeah,
hopefully it develops him.
Yeah, right now I'm gonna pick Derevyanchenko to win the fight, likely by decision.
I kind of lean in your direction as well. Now they may give Charlo the fight, like what they did with Korobov. Korobov was hitting him flush with them left hands. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
And I thought Korobov won. I know Charlo did hit him with some right hands. And
yeah, I edged the fight. He hurt him late in the fight, and I think it was in the championship rounds. But Korobov won the first 5 rounds of the fight, in my opinion.
I thought so too. And he was throughout the fight he was tagging Charlo. At will.
Charlo just kept overcommitting to right hands, and he was just getting tagged with lefts, just coming in on straight lines. His attacks are not very educated. They're pretty crude for the most part. I see Derevyanchenko winning this fight. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get off quick. So
yeah, you fixed up, man. But it's nice talking with you. Tell me when your stream is gonna be up.
All right. See ya.
Peace. Well, it was nice talking with King Tangy. Changing up the names all the time. It was nice talking with him. So here's what's gonna happen, people. Shout out to Tommy Temper and Get This Smoke. You guys will be able to jump on here and express yourself. Express your opinions, where you're coming from. We're going to do it in a civil manner. Nobody disrespect nobody. You can still talk your shit, though. Talk some shit if you want to. But I will just be a mediator sort of that guy. I'm not going to let any and everybody up in here, because some people are very I know that you're somebody who is disrespectful, but I want people to express their opinions, man. Talk boxing, you know? And what I'll try to do, it's gonna be hard to do, but I'm gonna try, is to be able to express what I'm talking about in boxing, I have to show you guys little video clips. So what you guys can do is go to the community, feed on my page, on my channel. And I constantly show you guys all these little things that make boxing so cool. Shout out to Mr. Troy King. I always watch your channel. I always watch your videos. I don't know shit about boxing, people. I only know a little bit. Now it's starting to box. It's great. And hopefully I can you guys see me eating all the way through. Don't trip about it. Gotta eat breakfast and lunch, brunch. I'll go out and work after this. But don't trip about eating. I gotta eat. I gotta live. Alright? For all the people out there, we just tried out StreamYard. StreamYard is up and running. Tommy Temper, thank you so very much for this. Immediately operated, so it worked. Anybody else who want to hop on, be a guest, the link is somewhere in this feed somewhere. I put it somewhere up top. Boxing Monster, what's up, my bro? Tangy is tweaking and tripping. All right. Feel I'm what you need. Oh, one more thing. If you guys are going to jump on this feed, let us see your face. Let us see you. I don't want no icons up on this feed anymore. I want to see who you guys are. There will not be, I will try my best not to be somebody who is threatening somebody. I want to be welcoming. So this is an environment, a community where people can talk. Boxing. I might pull up 1 or 2 people, maybe 3 people. We're not gonna have a whole bunch of people up in here so that the whole thing gets too rowdy and it's one where people can't hear themselves speak. We'll try to keep it civil. And who knows who may pop up on this feed? You just never know who may pop up here as a guest if you keep things civil and people feel safe enough to talk their piece up in here. You never know who might pop up on this feed. I'm just gonna say that and leave that alone. So we will try and get some guests in here, especially for those people who want to know more about judging fights. And judging fights, I think it was back in, when was it? The 10-point must system came to be pretty recently. I can't remember what time. I can't remember what age it is. I don't want to just call a number off the top of my head. So the point system that we know today wasn't the same point system back in the day. So these are all these little things that people don't know. Boxing and sport has evolved so much. Like once upon a time, it was just the referee who used to judge fights, the guy in the ring. And then it became where people used to judge fights by rounds. They didn't have no 10-point must system. So you would see it was 12 rounds. You would see one judge give one guy 5 rounds, another guy 4 rounds, and then you got 3 rounds even, that kind of thing. So that's how it used to go. But with the 10-point must system, awarding 10 points for a round, 9 points for the guy who loses round, or 8 points if the guy got dropped or whatever, infringement, whatever. We started seeing numbers instead of rounds. All right, so that's why I keep on explaining to you guys. Boxing as a sport continuously evolves. All right, it evolves. It always is going to be changing. You got to keep abreast of the times and keep abreast of the sport. Just like how in life everything is changing. You know, once upon a time, nobody used to use a phone to transmit to the whole wide world. You know what I mean? So once you understand that and you welcome and embrace the change and where you think changes should not be made or changes should be made or more changes should be made, you voice your opinion. That's all you got to do. Okay? Don't just stay static saying I like this time period, and that's it. Okay, you can do that. But I'm just saying, you got to be flexible. If you say you love the sport of boxing, then you should be able to go along with the change that accompanies the sport of boxing. I am what you need. You've been watching my channel. Shout out to my guest, Intangible Boxing and Tommy Temper. And hopefully we can get some more guests on here as time goes along. I'm not going to keep you guys any longer. It's almost 2 hours in. I appreciate you viewing my channel. Don't forget that you can subscribe, share, donate, comment, and donate via Western Union, not MoneyGram right now. And also, for those people who want to get, again, some more information, I have so many different links and so many different channels that I can share with you guys. I talk in depth about boxing. I hope to have different people on here. Just because I say debate doesn't mean you have to name call people, even though I've done it in the past and I'm guilty of it myself. We want to have it a little bit more civil up in here where people just be able to express themselves. Because I feel like sometimes I keep people from expressing themselves and they don't get to say what they want to say. So I want you guys to be able to say at least what you want to say. It don't matter how ridiculous it sounds. We'll sit down here, we'll debate it with you. And hopefully in the end, you leave whatever stream or session or whatever I have better than you came. All right. And hopefully we also in these discussions and debates leave, I myself personally leave better than I came. Because I learned a couple things from Intangible Boxing concerning Lucas Brown, concerning some of the champions and people he's talking about in the past. And I'm sure he learned a thing or two maybe from me. I don't know. I hope so. So that the discussions are always rewarding in some respect. You can debate something without having to necessarily be somebody who hates somebody or whatever. And I've been in vicious debates and I've said some really dumb ass things. But it's just I didn't really mean what I'm saying. I'm just saying it out of passion or whatever. But we try not to degrade to that level. We try to keep it a pretty civil. At the same time, if you want to shit talk, shit talk. Don't stop. I'm not gonna stop you from shit talking and clowning a bit. But it's all in good fun. I'm gonna catch you guys later. What you need. Peace.